The film is The Mirror Has Two Faces.
Well?
Oh, my God.
And it's a career capper for Lauren Bacall, nominated tonight for Best Supporting Actress.
You're the mother of the bride, not the opening act.
Fine. I'll go home and change.
Oh, stop it. We're late already.
Rose, who's on the phone?
Some feel the character captures Bacall's personality as much as Bacall captures the character. Surface strength, inner doubts, the undisclosed interior life of a woman who has been a star for over half a century.
How did it feel?
How did what feel?
Being beautiful?
Oh, stop.
No, I mean it. How did that feel?
It was wonderful.
The first thing you need to know is that no one calls her Lauren. It's either Betty, her real name, or Miss Bacall. Second, although she was married to Humphrey Bogart for only 11 years, and he was 25 years her senior, much of her life has been spent in the great actor's shadow. That suits her just fine.
What'd you do that for?
Been wondering whether I'd like it.
What's the decision?
I don't know yet.
From her debut film to Have and Have Not in 1944 until Bogart's death in 1957, their relationship was as much a part of Hollywood history as Oscar itself.
You know how to whistle, don't you, Steve? You just put your lips together and blow.
Betty Davis once said Bacall was perfect for Bogart because she matched his insolence.
Speaking of horses, I like to play them myself. But I like to see them work out a little first.
And you could feel it on screen in movies like The Big Sleep.
Got a touch of class, but I don't know how far you can go.
A lot depends on who's in the saddle.
Her productive acting years were mostly sacrificed to be wife to Bogey and mother to their two children, a son and daughter. But she never complained. She made other films, was a smash on Broadway, and had an unsuccessful second marriage to actor Jason Robards, with whom she also had a son. She says she'll never live in Hollywood because she is the consummate New Yorker.
Are you going to slice us some Nova?
Off shopping at Zabar's Gourmet Delicatessen on Manhattan's Upper West Side.
Good luck at the awards.
Thank you. I'll need it.
Tonight at age 72, she has been nominated not for the woman she was, but for the woman she is. How important is it to you if you win or if you lose? And don't tell me that you don't care who wins, it's just the pleasure of being nominated, because you know I won't believe you.
I know. If I don't win, no. I'm trying not to think about it, frankly. I mean, I really have been trying to sell myself a bill of goods, talking to myself, saying, oh, no, it doesn't really matter, because it is true that there are no guarantees in my profession, you know, that very often something has come out of left field that has not been heard of before, and suddenly somebody wins that you didn't expect to win. So I do think it's possible, and I'll be as prepared as I can possibly be, which is, will all be fake, but I will be prepared.
You will applaud.
I'll go, hey, fabulous guy. But, I mean, it's an honor. Yeah. It's the highest award you can receive in motion pictures, and for someone who's never received an award in motion pictures, it means something. It's interesting because in film, my movie career has not been an easy one. It's been very up and down. And there were years when I couldn't get a job at all. I was doing all the game shows.
Since you have been nominated, how many parts have come in for you?
None.
No kidding.
No.
Really?
None.
I thought it was supposed to make such a big difference.
Well, it's supposed to make a difference, I suppose, after you win. I don't know. I mean, maybe it will make a difference.
Who are you going to go with?
My children, all of them, all three of them.
Oh, nice.
And their significant others, yes.
Do you think in a way that this is a Lifetime Achievement Award? You know, we love Lauren Bacall and she never got anything.
I hope it's not.
Yeah.
I hope it's not, because I have received Lifetime Achievement Awards before, which always makes me think that at a certain time in your life as an actor, you know, you start receiving them because you're the last one that's still alive. And I think I should just croak now. No. But I think that it's, I would like it to be for the work. I would prefer it to be for the work.
How do you think Humphrey Bogart would feel if you won?
Oh, I think he'd be very proud of me. I think he'd be very happy that I, at last, you know, that I am at least being given credit for being an actress, because, you know, I never really have been. I've always been thought of as a personality, a name, a star, whatever you want to call me, but not as an actress. I've not been taken seriously for the most part. And so this recognition means a lot to me because of that, because the nomination, in actual fact, comes as a result of the actors voting.
Yep.
And so, in that way, it really means the most.
Do you remember the night that Bogey won the Oscar for Best Actor for
Yes,
The
and I
African
was going to
Queen?
say, yes, right, that was in 1951.
What was it like?
Only 10 years ago.
Yeah.
No, but that was, what was extraordinary about that, you see, is that it was done at Grauman's Chinese. It was not televised. It was very spontaneous. And one had the real feeling, the sense that everyone knew everyone, that we all knew each other. And when he won, his name was called, the whole audience cheered, which of course he didn't expect. And it was a much more exciting and much more industry-oriented award.
It's a very different Hollywood.
Well, it's all about television now. It's not and I think that's too bad, because I think it's less personal, and I wish it were more personal.
I often ask, what do you think is the biggest misconception about you? And I can't think of anybody whom I could say that with more honesty than with you, because there is such a misconception about you. What do you think it is?
I guess people don't think of me as a human being, in a way, and as a woman who has frailties, who, you know, problems. She never has any problems, you know. She's always in control. She always manages her life. Nothing phases her. Well, that's, of course, ridiculous. After all, I'm a woman. I've fended for myself for a long, long time. Brought up 3 kids by myself. Not an easy thing, you know, and I make all the decisions for myself. So it's hard. And I suppose, over the years, I've built up a certain veneer to protect myself. But in actual fact, I mean, I'm not like that at all. I'm still a pushover and hypersensitive and ridiculous.
2 out of 3 I agree with. Not put, you know,
But
you
I'm
are
crazy,
a
too.
pushover.
I'm a cuckoo, you know.
Yeah.
You have to be a little crazy to stay in this business. You really do.
Your son, Steve, wrote a book recently about his father, a very good book, as a matter of fact, called Bogart in Search of My Father. And he writes lovingly of you, but also somewhat critically.
Yes, quite critically. No, I've talked to him about that. I said, thanks a lot, Steve.
He says that you are a perfectionist, that you demand excellence from everyone, particularly your children.
That's true. I demand it from people that I work with, too. Because I give 150% of myself, and I want everyone else to do the same.
Tough on kids.
Sure it is. Well, I mean, I guess I'm tough on kids. I don't know. I mean, I want them to be better than they ever thought they could be. All I can say is that I did the best I could do.
And you like them.
And I like them, and they like me.
Most people don't know anything about your children. Tell us a bit about them.
I'm very proud of all of them. They're very different. Steve is my oldest. Steve and Leslie are my 2 Bogart children. And Steve is in television, producer, writer. And Leslie is my daughter, who was a nurse and has been combining that and yoga, and is a yoga therapist now. She works with people who have had heart problems, who have had other illnesses or injuries, and she is in service to humanity. She's a much better human than her mother. And Sam is my Robards child. And Sam...
Your son by Jason Robards.
Yes.
Sam's an actor.
And Sam is a wonderful, wonderful actor and a great-looking guy, and he has not had the most luck of anyone I've ever known. His luck, in some ways, has been comparable to his mother's.
You said in a previous interview, all the men in my life were mistakes except Bogart.
Ah, well.
Ah, well. So is that you? Is that them? I mean...
Well, it's probably partially me. I probably am attracted to trouble, which I am, and I'm not attracted to easy men. And it doesn't always work out, obviously. That's why I say I was bloody lucky. Bogey wasn't easy, but I was lucky that he so adored me. The other guys adored me, but not for quite as long.
Betty, When you married Humphrey Bogart, he was 25 years older than you. You were his fourth wife?
Fourth.
Fourth wife. He
I
drank.
was his swan song.
Okay, he drank. What made it so great? All those things against it.
He was not an alcoholic, not even close. Drinking was not a heavy problem with us. Yeah. At the very beginning, I didn't know how to handle it because I was a kid. Yeah. And I'd never drank. And I couldn't stay up all those hours. He had much more energy than I had.
When you look back, I mean, you have been asked about Humphrey Bogart every single time anybody does an interview. But if I just said, tell me what image of your marriage or what day pops into your mind, what does?
Well, the fun we had. He was very funny. He had great humor. Our humor complemented one another. We really had a good time together. He was unusual. I've never known anyone whose standards were as high as Bogey's and who actually lived his life by the Ten Commandments and the Golden Rule. He was totally human, believe me, in every way, and could be very irritating because he was always right. Now, that's a nightmare, you know. At times you want to just throttle him because he was always right. Bogey had plenty of faults, I mean, you know, but his character was amazingly, amazingly strong and pure. I was very lucky. 25 years or no 25 years. Some women never have that. I have no complaints.
That famous line that every film buff knows, from To Have and Have Not.
I don't believe it. You wouldn't.
I would.
Oh, you would.
Oh, yeah, come on. I need a closing for this piece. Come on, be a pal, do it for me.
I know, I know. You don't have to act with me, Steve. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to do anything. Oh, maybe just whistle. You know how to whistle, don't you, Steve? You just put your lips together and blow.
I love you, Betty Bacall. We're done.
I'd kill you for this.
We're done.
I'd kill you for this.